Welcome to episode 23 of the BeReel365 series. Today's question is, what are your thoughts about revenge? And beyond that, is it necessary? I'm going to give you a real world example of a situation in my own life where I felt vengeful. And then we will go into why we as humans feel the need for revenge, where it comes from, what are the outcomes from it, and is revenge a good thing or a bad thing or both? So, a very real circumstance in my own life was when I sold my business, my original media company, back in April of last year, 2018. I was very bitter when that happened, to be real and honest with you. So much so that I had gotten to the point where I wanted to exact revenge on the former company by building a huge media company and taking over the area that I was in, just to be spiteful. But I very quickly realized that that was based out of, at the time, what I figured was just anger and resentment towards everything falling apart in the business for myself. And so I very quickly got to the point where I decided that that's just not who I am. And it's not the route that I wanted to take. It's not the reputation that I wanted to have. It is not what I wanted people to remember about me. And so, very quickly, before doing anything, I decided this is not something that I want to do. And it's not ultimately not what I sold the business for. Ultimately, what I sold the business for at the time was to pursue doing magic full time. And so I said, what is the point of trying to get revenge? What does that really accomplish? In this case, it really accomplishes nothing and could very well ruin my reputation, and it's just no point in doing that. So I very quickly gave it up. But revenge is a very natural thing for us to feel, specifically so in the U.S. culture, in the United States, which is something that we will get into in a little bit. But where does the revenge, the feeling of revenge, come from? I think ultimately it comes from feeling hurt, feeling betrayed, feeling anger towards someone or something because of something they did to us, something they said to us. And we automatically get this feeling that we want to retaliate against this person or this group or what have you. And that is what we call revenge. But is revenge something that is beneficial for us? And beyond that, when we include ourselves in acts of revenge, does it actually make us feel better? I would say that you probably, the same as me, think that it would make you feel better. Hence the reason for wanting to exact the revenge in the first place. Studies have been done to show that is exactly the opposite of what really happens when we exact revenge on someone. What really happens is we feel bad about it much longer than we would if we had never taken revenge in the first place. What tends to happen when we put ourselves into a place of revenging a situation or something somebody said to us or something of that nature, if we were to just ignore it, then what happens is we trivialize the exact thing that made us want to take revenge in the first place, and then it gets to the point where we just don't care anymore. It's exactly what happened with me when I sold the business. Immediately I felt I want to take revenge on this, but I waited. I didn't do anything. And so then it got to the point where the whole situation just didn't matter anymore. I was very much above trying to take revenge in the outcome that would produce. It just didn't matter to me anymore. What tends to happen though, if we do take revenge, is that we ruminate on that thought of wanting to take revenge. So we feel hurt, we feel that we've been wronged, and we take this act of revenge on someone or something. And once it happens, it causes us to then focus specifically on us taking revenge on that particular person or thing. And we ruminate over this thought constantly till it gets us to a point where it actually does more harm than good, because it has caused now a sense of remorse in a lot of people, a sense of, why did I even do this in the first place? There was no real point in it. Maybe ended up causing more pain than if we wouldn't have taken revenge in the first place. So it's a very interesting dichotomy of mental events that take place when we do actually take revenge or not take revenge. Something interesting of note is that we might think of revenge differently in the US than in other countries. Studies have shown that in other countries, revenge is not as looked down upon as it is in our own country in the US, that the people that take revenge aren't as quote unquote bad as they are here. And so the feeling of remorse and the feeling of it being worse than it is when we actually do take revenge is actually less in a lot of other countries than it is here. Something else of note that we do actually do in the US is victims of crimes actually get to take part in what they think the sentencing and outcome of the attacker or the person that they are a victim of. They actually get to take part in what their sentencing will be, basically what the punishment is going to be. And what's interesting to note about that is we've removed the outcome of remorse and revenge by removing the person, i.e., the victim, from the actual act of revenge. Because in the end, it's the government, it's the state that actually takes action on whatever the punishment is towards this particular person. So the victim then has a win-win situation at that point. They're able to exact revenge, but not be connected to it in any way, which is interesting. So I'm curious what you all think. Are there moments that you've taken revenge towards someone or something? Did it actually make you feel good in the end? Maybe right away it did, but long term, is that something that you actually still think was necessary? My guess would be no.